Hi, Sherry. Welcome to Bella Let's Talk. Today, our special guest, it's a young girl whom I truly admire. She's well gifted, and I love how much she does everything so well, with professionalism. And I have known her for more than 5 years now, and she's a person I keep around because once you have those good people around you, you're gonna pursue life with a different vision, and they help you with everything you need, and anytime you reach out to them, they're always willing and to help you. And today, guys, I present you one of my lovely sisters. Hello.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah,
Okay.
and I am a spoken word poet. I've been a spoken word poet for like over 10 years. I'm a grant writer, um, not just a grant writer, but people entrust me with their vision.
Wow.
They
Yes.
entrust me to build it, they trust me to develop it, and most importantly, I write a story that people will remember,
Yes.
which helps me to be a good grant writer.
Yes, yes, yeah. I do remember you helped me to actually write. She wrote one of my grant, and I got it. Surprisingly, I got it
You got two.
too.
You got
Yes,
two
yes.
grants.
But sadly, the last one, I never got the money.
Oh, you
Yeah, I
didn't.
didn't. I forgot to tell you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't. But she's a person, guys. Seriously, if you're looking for help with anything, mostly for grants, and also if you have an event and you need somebody to speak a poem for you, she's always available. And just reach her out. I will put her Instagram down below. So tell us a little bit, like, how did you get into this, like writing poems and like writing alone, like even doing grants? Yeah.
I was always an avid reader of poetry from when I was young. I loved um, poets of the Black radical movement in the '60s. So Langston Hughes, Amiri Baraka, Paul Laurence Dunbar, Marcus Garvey. I loved poetry of that era, of like the Black movement, of the civil rights movement, everything, all the arts movement of that era. I always loved it, and I was an avid reader of it, and it inspired me. So when I was growing up, I would just write pen to paper, write my thoughts, things that I was thinking about, observations, and that's what makes an artist is
Wow.
observations. We are the journalists. We are the
Yes.
creative journalists of the world. We are the political activists that take something and put beauty to it.
Yes.
And that's what I began to do until it became a profession.
Wow. I think you're so gifted in it, and I think it's for you. Seriously. I truly admire every poem you have spoken that I heard. It always touched me. I'm like, she's so gifted. As we speak about goal setting, like how do you determine if a goal is worth pursuing?
That's a very good question. And it really comes down to having a clear idea or vision of what you want out of your life. Personally, even though I knew I loved poetry, every time I would think about my future or what direction I wanted to take it, there was just a lot of confusion. I would just be like, I'll take anything,
Yeah.
especially when you're in
Yeah.
university and you are
Yes.
struggling.
Yeah, yeah.
Hunger gets to you in a way that is undescribable, and you're like, I'll do any job. Just Lord, give me anything,
Yeah.
So I was pursuing all types of goals,
Yes.
that weren't leading me in
Yeah.
a right direction. Well, I was moving, I was making a lot of progress, but not in the right direction.
Wow.
So you find out which goals are worth pursuing when you have to continually assess your life, assess yourself,
Yeah.
do an introspection.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize, is this worth pursuing? Like I wanted to be a lawyer for a long time. And I went to school for political science. I did my I think it's called my LSAT prep. And after going through the LSAT prep, I had to do another assessment, and I said, is this really for me? What do I really want to get out of this? Would I be happy?
Yes, doing it. Yeah.
Right? And, law is very broad. It's not just what we see on TV. What we see on TV is litigation, I object, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Law, being a lawyer can also mean just sitting at your desk for 8 hours like a regular job. So I did the research, and I tried to think, can I see myself in any of these career paths under the umbrella of a lawyer? And it's not something I would be fulfilled. And if you know that you'll be fulfilled, then that is how you can determine if something's worth pursuing. Is it worth your time? You know, for somebody who's studied for 10 years, do you really want to switch your career now?
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you may need to take that risk, but it all really depends on what do you want.
Yes. What makes you happy, kind of? Okay. Oh, that's really good. So what kept you motivated, though, as you were pursuing what you wanted to do, your goal?
There was a lot of ups and downs, you know, with life. It's a roller coaster. There are definitely times when I felt like I'm gonna put this on the back burner. Grant writing, it's not making me any money. There is money to be made. I just got, like, there were some years where every single time I wrote a grant was a decline. Sorry, you've been rejected. We had a lot of other candidates. Decline. And it builds up a callous, you know, an emotional resilience.
100%,
but doesn't mean that it's not tough. You know, people say that when you hear motivational speakers talking, they'll say, oh, you know, Thomas Edison or the person who made the light bulb, they did 1,000 inventions before they made the light bulb. And I was just like, yeah, but do you know how long it took him to go from 99 to 100? Like, that break between the 99th invention to the 100th invention could have been 5 years.
Wow.
But we don't know that. We just know that it took him maybe 100 or 1,000. So there were definitely times when I needed external motivation.
Yes.
You know, and sometimes someone will just come by and say, hey, I didn't see you post anything, or how are you doing with that thing you used to do? That in itself is motivation externally. Internally, I try to keep myself motivated by just looking at the facts. You know, what progress have I actually made as a grant writer? I started out with, my first grant was $900. $900, and I applied for 1,000. I didn't get it. I applied for 1,000, and I was so excited. You know, you start budgeting, you start planning for 1,000, and then they say, "Yeah, we only give you 900 because we saw that you put in the budget this, and this, and we didn't think that." We didn't think that you needed that. And I was like, what? We couldn't have a discussion. So sometimes just keeping a track record of the things you've done helps you to stay motivated.
Yeah. I think what motivated me, seriously, to do everything is, I remember the first grant we applied and we got it, and beautiful. Like, they deposited the money right away. Everything was fine.
Right away.
No, seriously, I was so happy. Then the second one, it was it's my fault. I got it even the lady told me, just you keep smiling like you already got the grant, right? But my issue was, and this, guys, I was in Cuba, so I was in my own vacation, and then I forgot about the interview, but thankfully I think they sent me a message. So once I woke up in Cuba and they were in Canada, I was like, oh yeah, I have an interview. I'm in my vacation. I'm enjoying. And then once I did the interview with them, they lady liked me right away. And she's like, you know, just you keep smiling. You already got it. But the day that they're supposed to release the money, I fall asleep. And I realized in life, we are so hard on ourselves without realizing that there's bigger things that fights us, you know? Because for me, I'm not a person who will ever like fall asleep for knowing what I'm about to get. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's money.
It was $5,000. By the way, I just want to address the audience. It was $5,000, and this woman fell asleep.
Wait.
Just okay. Sorry, continue.
So
Go ahead. 5,000, which she did not have to work for. I didn't get my commission, even though I wrote the grants. $5,000, and I didn't get my commission because she decided to fall asleep. Okay, sorry, continue. I never got the chance to tell you how I was just like, how? Anyways,
I'm so sorry, but I remember the fight. Like, I was getting just to get the money. Like, everything went well. The moment for the money to be deposited, the first time I missed the interview, I don't know. I wasn't doing anything. I'm being honest. The second one, that's the last one. They said, you know what? Like, it seemed like you're not serious. But I do remember missing the call. I was sleeping, and I'm like, in my whole life, once an alarm goes on, it doesn't matter. I wake up. But the way that day I didn't wake up, I just remembered that guilt. And if you remember, we applied it for Bella Let's Talk. So that's why for the longest, I just didn't want to do Bella Let's Talk. Because I'm like, yo, I just miss enough money that can help me to actually start this, right? So I was hard on myself, really hard. And I lost the motivation to even do this. The goal is to do Bella Let's Talk, but I had no motivation. I had nothing. Like, I just didn't care anymore, because I tried my best and stuff, right? But in your own opinion, what is the steps where somebody can make, right, as they're pursuing this goal to make it more realistic for themselves?
To make goals realistic, before I go into that, it is a powerful point you just mentioned there. It's like when you've worked so hard towards a goal, and then you've hit a big obstacle, like you've hit a wall, and you're like, how do I get past this wall?
Yes. Yeah.
And it took, like, now we're here at Bella Let's Talk.
Yes.
How did we get here? Like, how did you actually, I know that I could be answering the question, but I genuinely would like to know, when you hit that wall and you were discouraged, like, how did we get here now?
Wow. That's a good question. I think I shared it before on my Bella Let's Talk about a dream that I had. It was more like a vision, actually, the coming of Jesus Christ. And then once I thought it was actually the real time, and now I was checking, like, to see if my family, they're still there, and outside if anyone is there. I do remember the guilt of, like, numbers of things that I haven't done that has been laid on my heart. So I was like, yo, I don't want to feel this ever, like, future coming. So I had to push myself out to be like, I'm not comfortable with it. I may have to use my own money when I could have got the grant to start. My friends, some of my friends, one of them her name is called Israela. She helps me a lot. Like, I remember the first time she did tell me, Bella, don't worry, like, just come. She did my makeup, helped me with things that I needed help with. And I just booked this place we're in to start doing it. But I would say it's the environment, the people that I also pull myself around, that helped me to always remind me, like, Bella, we're waiting for Bella Let's Talk. We're waiting, The moment I filmed the first video, I laughed at myself. I'm like, imagine you could have blamed yourself for the rest of your life to never do this, and you would never have that experience of doing it, right? So now when I'm here, like, doing it, seriously, I'm happy. It's the best moment for me. It's something I'm doing that I enjoy, right? But imagine dying and you never had that experience to know of how would you have ever felt if you actually gave it a try. If you actually, like, went to school to be a doctor, you always dreamed to be a doctor. So I think that's for me, to be honest. Like, I had to push myself out based on what, like, the vision I got, and, like, the friends that really helped me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
So
Yeah.
to your next question, what are the steps you can take to make realistic goals? So you have SMART goals, right? Something that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound.
Yes.
That is your first step to setting a goal. You don't want your goals to be too ambiguous, where it's like, I want to record with Kanye West someday.
Yeah.
That's a dream.
Yes.
That's a dream, and dreams are okay to have. Like, I'm gonna own 5 gas stations. Those are great dreams to have.
Yeah.
I have a dream.
Yeah.
My dream since I was a kid is I always wanted to be the president of the United States of America.
You?
Yes. I wanted to be up in America, just showing them, like, this is how the place needs to be run. Okay.
Wow. So why are you in Canada?
Right? But that's
Wow.
a dream. It's not a goal.
But you can do it, though. I'm sorry to cut you off, but you can do it.
You can't be a president without American citizenship.
But
You have to be born in America.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not an American citizen. I was not born in America. it's a dream. It's not a goal.
Cool.
You
Okay,
know
I
what I
see
mean?
the difference now. Yes.
It's a dream.
Yeah.
So a goal would be, being Prime Minister of Canada.
Okay. Yeah.
And with that goal, that's a very long-term goal. So then you have to now categorize what's your short-term and your
Okay.
long-term.
Okay.
To get to being Prime Minister, would need to serve in the political sphere for a very long, not a very long time, but like for a while, to build up some credibility and establish myself
Yes.
as a political figure. So that's the first step. Just using the SMART goals template, categorizing them between what is a dream.
Yes.
A dream is not unachievable per se,
Okay.
but it's really out of reach at the moment.
Okay.
Because if I'm sitting here and say, you know what, I write poetry, I want to do a songwriting session with Kanye, it's like, how do you get there? You need goals. You need to set actionable steps, measurable, achievable steps to get there.
Okay.
I don't know Kanye West, and I don't know anybody who knows Kanye West.
Yeah.
We don't even live in the same country.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that is a dream.
Yes.
Categorize them long-term, short-term, and just figure out which ones are the dreams
Yes.
and which ones are goals.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's really important. And then how would you say, is it important, or like what value would you give it to write your dreams, to write your goals down? Is it important? Yeah.
Yeah, writing anything down is so important. And I know there's we're in the technology era where you can just write it on your notes. You can write it on your calendar. You can, write it in some technology, but there is power when you put pen to paper. There's power when you can wake up in the morning and you see, first thing when you wake up in the morning on your bedroom wall, you see a picture of Kanye West, and one day I'm going to write a song with him. Right? When you can see something, when you have written it down,
Yes.
it brings it into life, right? Because you had it, the way people manifest their ideas and their dreams and their vision is that it starts as an idea, right? And when you write something down, it comes out of you.
Wow.
Right? Because you're taking a pen, you're putting it to paper, and it's literally coming out of you
Yeah.
in a smallest form with just ink to a paper. So I would say, like, why give that up to writing it, digitally? When you do something digitally, it's not necessarily like, when you write something down digitally, it's good, but you have tangible evidence that this can happen when you have it on paper.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's maybe a psychological thing too. Like you were saying about the environment. Your environment helped you to get here today.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So you want to prime your environment to surround yourself with the goals you want to achieve. Have it on your bedroom wall, kitchen table, refrigerator, write it down, sticky notes everywhere.
Yeah.
This can happen. This can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do believe then in the vision board or like journal goals?
I believe it. I believe in vision boards. I believe in journaling. Now, here's the thing. You write something down, you do a vision board, you put it in your notes, and then you forget about it. It's like, by the time you look at it, your notes are, because they're usually categorized by date. It's all the way at the bottom.
Yes.
From what we're in 2025 now.
Yeah.
So you wrote that vision 2023 and it's all the way at the bottom of your notes.
Yeah.
Do you think it's coming to pass?
No, you forget about it.
It's all the way at the bottom. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to keep bringing it back up. And that's why it's so important to write it down. Because it's not going to get buried under your to-do list. It's not going to get buried under, oh, I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to get my niece, I have to get my daughter, I have to go to work, and I have to do this for my boss. Like, it's not going to get buried under all that. People do an amazing vision board on Canva. They maybe put it as their screensaver, and by 5 months past, you're like, you just even forget that it's a screensaver.
It's true.
Right? You're trying to unlock the screen. Why is it, unlocking it fast?
Yeah.
And you don't even process it that this was really important to me at one point.
Yes.
You want to intentionally focus on what your goal is. As a grant writer, I had a goal. I myself, I'm working through goals right now. I want to I want to get a 6-figure grant.
Wow.
And
We will get there.
we will get there. We will get there. But
Yeah.
I have to be intentional on how to get to that 6 figures.
Yeah.
You know, for a while, I was focusing on being safe and comfortable as a grant writer. I was applying to a lot of micro grants, the 2,000s, the 5,000s, the 1,000s, because I knew they were easy to get, right? Like it was easy for you to get that grant.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was capable of doing it. I was just like, oh yeah, 5,000, done. We got the grant, right? But now I want to push myself and it feels very scary. So now I'm not even sure if I want to write it down because I have it in the back of my mind. I want to do it, but I'm scared as to how I'm going to do it. Can I even do it? So I don't end up writing it down. Now I wrote it down. But now it's like it's real for me. Like I'm going to get there. I'm applying for the grants that are 6 figures. I've gotten declined and I'm coming back.
That's right. Let's keep applying. Because I do feel your pain, like not pain, but that fear. Because I remember when I started the first business, Crystal Clear for teeth whitening, I remember I was like, yo, like who's going to come? Who's going to be my client? Like, and then there's people you expect that they will be your client. You know how you said like there's certain grants, you know, when you're applying them, you know you are getting it because you know how to, you know, to apply. You have confidence. So there's certain people I was confident. I'm like, why? Like she will be number one to come or he will be number one to come. But those are the people who never reach out to me.
What?
And sadly,
Are they your friends still?
No, definitely not. You know?
Are they watching?
I don't know. But the thing is, like, I do remember you were my first person.
Really?
I did. Yes.
Oh my God.
It is.
I swear, I had no idea I was your first person.
You were.
I thought you were doing this for a long time.
No. So you were my first. So I did it like on my mom, on like my brother. But it's like that first client who came in, it was you.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I remember like seeing the difference, and then your picture went everywhere because I'm trying to like, you know, advertise my business. And it's funny enough because we were friends, but not like that. And then like to see you being the first person, and I'm like, but these people I thought like, you know, they were all of that, like, you know, and they have never reached out. It hit me so hard. And then, but I got 2 more people during that same time as you. But seriously, one thing I can say, that fear of like, you know, don't ever let the fear keep you in a place where you give up. Never. Like, never. If you have to keep on sending to the same people to get that grant, do it. Don't only apply one time and say, oh, they denied me, I'm done with them. No. You keep on. Because seriously, I tell you the truth, now with even my business Crystal Clear, I don't think about who's going to be my client. Every single day, from nowhere, I see somebody messaging me, I'm coming to do my teeth whitening, you know? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So from nowhere. But imagine if I gave up. Because I'm like, oh, the friends that I thought they would come, they didn't come. You know what I mean? Like I would never have went forth with it. You know? So I do encourage like anyone who's watching us, please don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. So can you help us like maybe put it together? How do you break down like a big dream, a big goal, mostly big goal, becoming smaller to be achievable? Like it's reasonable to be achievable.
Right. So you know, you always want to think about what is the goal. So it's good to have an example. We talked about using the SMART goals template.
Yes.
Okay, so sometimes my brain works forward and it works backwards. Right? So depending on how you think and how you process things, you can work backwards starting from, okay, the big goal is I want to hit 6 figures.
Okay.
And then you're like, okay, 5 figures, 4 figures, 3 figures, $100.
Okay.
You can work backwards that way, or you can work forwards to say, what can I do now? Like that is a question I try to ask myself every day. What can I do now that's going to take me there?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's attending a workshop. Maybe that's sending a message to somebody on LinkedIn asking for mentorship.
Wow.
Right? And that's one thing that has helped me a lot in grant writing is just asking a question to someone I don't know. I'll reach out to people on LinkedIn and say, hey, I saw your X, Y, and Z professional. I would love to know more about your career journey. As a grant writer, I'm looking to do this. Would you be open to speaking with me about it? You know, mentorship is a very powerful tool.
Man, I need to stop drinking coffee because these teeth, I have to go to Crystal Clear because, girl, you got to get me right. You got to get me right. So we did a couple rounds, 15 minutes each round. We did 3 rounds total, so that's 45 minutes just to see how it was going to look. And based off the results, I was going to choose if I wanted more or not. So this is me rinsing the stuff off. And then when I saw the results, I said, my God. All right. Yes, hot gala out when you see me. Look at the before and after. Like, come on. Book with Crystal Clear.
Would you say that it's faith has a big play into like achieving a goal?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
1000%. Faith has a lot. It is like, has a lot to play. It's like, I want to say 95% of you achieving your goals is faith. The other 5% is luck, and you don't want to rely on luck.
Yes.
Because luck will have you irresponsible. It will have you thinking that you worked hard to do it, and you think that
it's your own strength, yeah.
Not that it's your own strength, that, okay, luck will have you feeling, oh my gosh, you know what? My podcast blew up. Maybe somebody watched it and they reposted it and it blew up. But you didn't have a structure in place to maintain the audience that you now have because of luck, right? You know, like, for example, there's a particular artist who saw me post a video about grant writing. He posted it on his social media, and then all of a sudden I started getting these inquiries. So luck would say, hey, you have all these clients now. You're about to hit your 6 figures. Luck has reached, because of luck, I now got to the goal. Somebody important saw my video, reposted it. But luck will have you irresponsible because I didn't have a calendar appointment system. I didn't have proper questions to ask people to vet them before taking them on as a client. So now I ended up wasting a lot of time with people who didn't end up becoming a client. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So luck will have you in a place where it's like, oh, I got here, but you weren't prepared to be there.
Yeah.
That's luck. Luck is like, here's the opportunity at random, but you weren't prepared for it. Wow. Faith keeps you prepared. Like, faith is like, intentionally, I'm preparing for this day. I am ready for this day.
Yes.
I have trained for this day. Right? I have everything in place for this day. So by the time you get the opportunity, you can sustain it and you can maintain it. Luck is like, you know, it'll throw you in the sea. So now you've got the attention, the fame, the money that you want, and you can't maintain it.
Yeah. Wow, that's deep. So what's the big challenge now for when people trying to achieve their goal?
Biggest challenge? Consistency. Consistency. I'm also guilty. I'm trying. I really am. Consistency, because like we talked about earlier, there's so many things that will have you pause, put it on the back burner, get discouraged. There was a time when I just felt straight up embarrassed. I took a client in an industry that I've never, like, you know, I don't know much about tech. So when a client said, hey, can you write this grant in the tech industry? And I was like, you know, in my enthusiasm, luck will say, yes, you know, you're lucky. They want to pay you. They want to pay you 5 bands to write this tech grant. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, and it ended up being embarrassing because I was like, I just didn't have the jargon. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know nothing about the tech industry. I didn't do my research. And I was like, yo, I'm never taking on a small business client again.
Yeah.
But now, I am consistently learning.
Okay. Yeah.
How can I work with small businesses? How can I work with nonprofits? How can I work with artists, other individuals, right? Bless you.
Thank you.
Artists, other individuals. So consistency is the biggest challenge to achieving a goal, because there's so many external things and internal things that happen that make you want to stop, that make you want to quit and give up. I am notorious for quitting, which is sad to say, but it's brought me to a place where now I am here. Like when people act confident and cocky, you kind of have to think about like where are they coming from?
Ooh.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm a grant writer and I know that I quit on myself so many times. So when I say I'm that girl now,
Yeah.
like I am the boss.
You are.
I'm not even trying to not even trying to boast. I'm just
Yeah.
saying like I know how much times I know what it took for me to get here.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. No,
But
I agree. Like I agree because like some days people don't see the behind doors. You know, of the tears maybe you have shared, the sleepless night you have gone through, all of these things. You know, and now once you have that confidence now of like, yo, I can actually do it. You know, people want to like come in and start like putting you down or have their own opinion and all of these things. And one thing I learned in this short time I've been on earth is this: the people who talks the most, being honest with you, are the people who want to be where you are but have nothing.
That's so powerful. That's
Yeah.
deep. We need
Yeah.
to put that in writing. Somebody put that on your wall. That's your new vision board. They want to be where you are, but they have nothing. Put that on your wall, please.
But what would you give an advice to somebody who's stuck? Like I mean stuck to achieving, to get their
Honestly,
goal.
sometimes you have to be aggressive with yourself. Like you have to shake yourself. You know, I remember one time my pastor at church, he was speaking on depression, and you could see that it wasn't going very culturally sensitive. Like he was speaking about depression, but he wasn't like, you know, doing it gently in terms of, listen, I understand, maybe you've gone through many things. Like it wasn't a gentle preaching at all. It was, you need to shake yourself out of it now.
Yeah.
Because the world is passing you by.
It's true.
The world is going on.
Yeah.
Like nothing stops for you.
Yeah.
Because your mom died, your dad died, nobody's stopping. Somebody will come to the funeral and say, my condolences, but 3 o'clock hits, okay, funeral's done, I've got to go back to work.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll stop and say, my condolences, and then they're gone about their business. Nobody is stopping.
Wow.
Only you stop yourself.
Wow.
That's the truth.
Yes. 100%.
So when you come to a place when you know that, when I have come to the place many times in my life where I'm just like, you know, I'm done, I quit. I just like, I pay attention. Yeah. And that's something I had from young is I pay attention to the signs. And I'm not trying to be super spiritual, but you have to wake up. And even if you feel stuck, there's many times when I quit just on life. Like I would wake up in the morning and be like, okay, just end. Like let the day just end. Like I'd get up, I'd be like, okay, get ready for service. Service is done. The day is done. Like I'm so happy that the day is done and my life is now it's just over. And my days were like that over and over again. Like just I wake up and I'm hoping that the day will just end very fast.
Yes. Yeah.
And some days, if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it when someone says, "How are you?"
Wow.
Right? And you can do the thing where you can say, "I'm fine." We'll call that the F word. I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's the F word because it's not true. You are lying to yourself. So if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it when someone says, "Are you okay? Are you fine? Hello?" I've had somebody in church do that to me. Like I'd just be sitting there minding my own business and someone's like, and that was my cue, Aaliyah, pay attention.
Yeah.
Like, what are you missing right now in this moment? Wake up. Sometimes you need to be aggressive with yourself and just go outside.
Yes.
Go outside. Go for a walk. But it all comes down to choice because you can choose not to do it.
Oof.
You can choose to sit there.
Yes.
You know?
I agree.
Roll out of your bed if you need to. In the darkest moments when I felt stuck, it was the small things. It was just going outside. It was looking out the window and slowly paying attention God will speak to you. And that's the faith that you have to have. And you don't have to be religious or anything, but the faith is in that there are signs. Even for people who are not Christian, there's always signs. And always somebody who will be like, hey, something random, pay attention. Because there are always signs that nature works with God. You know, like there's testimonials where someone has tried to commit suicide and it doesn't work.
100%.
Right? It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? They'll take a full bottle of something and they don't die.
Yeah.
These are just clear signs.
Yeah.
I watched a true crime. Is that what it's called? True crimes on
yeah.
Netflix. I don't usually like to watch those true crimes, but this had a happy ending.
Yeah.
So I watched it, and a young boy who was kidnapped shot his father, and a clear sign to his life was the lawyer said, I'm not going to charge you anything for this case, and I'm going to try to, like, this was it a lawyer? Attorney, sorry. Attorney took on his case and said, I'm not going to charge you anything ever for this case.
Wow.
Mind you, the young boy killed his father, and he got an attorney that said, I'm not going to charge you anything, but I want to show people that you're innocent.
Wow.
He could be stuck in a rut saying, I'm in jail, my life is over, I was kidnapped, you know, he could say a list of things, and he's justified. He's justified to be depressed. You're allowed to be depressed if you've been kidnapped. But somebody comes into your life and says, I'm going to prove that you're innocent. I'm not going to charge you anything for the rest of your life to be your attorney.
Come on.
You can choose to stay depressed, or you can choose to say, well, God did his big one.
Yes, I agree.
God did his big one. Nothing happens in an instant, right? If you're feeling stuck and depressed, okay, you can like be I'm not giving you a saying it's okay to be depressed, but I'm saying it's okay to have emotions, feel.
Yeah.
Like you feel sad right now, pass through it. As long as you can crawl to the other end.
Yeah.
Some people, you know, they bounce back so quickly. For me, for a long time, it was crawling to the other end of that tunnel.
Yeah.
Like I was not in a place where I could get up and walk, run.
Yeah.
When I was in a depression, I was crawling to get out of it. And that will look different for everybody, but you have to decide within yourself, do I want to stay here?
For the rest of your life. There's a lot of people are here, but it's not it, you know? I always say this, and I don't say it out of ignorance, that being depressed, it's a choice. It's not that it will not happen. We are humans. But I have a way I have set my mind that when that feeling comes in, I have to kick it out right away. I have things I do that makes me happy. The time we went to Cuba, there was nothing that was more beautiful as at nighttime to go into the pool. We didn't supposed to be in the pool, but we just went to the pool. And you just look up, because all you can see is stars, you know? And I have that image in my mind. I kept it in my mind that every single time when I used to deal with anxiety a lot, like I would start shaking. And I remember even it used to hurt my heart because it's so much, like I'm so scared, like I'm, you know? And then once I had that image, every time it brings me down, like it brings me peace. So every time anything happens, I just close my eyes and I just see myself like watching the stars, and it gives me peace, right? So the feeling will come, 100% will come. A lot of denials, rejection, everything you think like it should work like this. I think a lot of people, what they're dealing with right now, it's finance in our generation. A lot of people are struggling with finance, you know, and I want you to help us understand the season when you were going through all of that. You had a debt on yourself that you had to pay. How did you manage?
It honestly, again, it's a mixture between luck and faith,
Mm-hmm.
discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Faith, when I say faith, is discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So I started getting serious about my finances when I was at $0. And I distinctly remember the day I was at church
Mm-hmm.
and there was a partnership brunch. And for those who don't know, a partnership is when you are giving money to do the expeditions of the church outside of Canada. So this is, you're not getting a tax receipt and you are just helping to push the gospel outside of Canada.
Yeah.
So they had a brunch and I was there for the brunch, not because I was trying to be a partner, just because I was sleeping in the church. Just I stayed overnight. I didn't have a reason to go home. Again, I was like, what is my life now? Do I need to, what is home? You know?
Yeah.
So I was overnight at the church, and when they were setting up for the brunch, I was thinking to myself, can I be a partner with no money?
Ooh.
Can I be a part? Like, can I do anything with no money?
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, I just committed to it. And it's so amazing that when you commit to something, God will just make a way.
Amen.
He will just put things to make a way.
In order. Yeah.
So I just committed and I said, I'm going to do $20 a month. Mind you, I had $0.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't even know how this was going to work, but somehow I started doing the $20 per month. Somehow I started committing to tithes. And those two little commitments,
Yeah.
you know, the Bible says if you're faithful in little, you can be faithful in much.
Yeah.
So by the time, I was ignoring creditors for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I was praying it, God, debt free, cancel that debt, cancel it in the name of Jesus.
Yeah.
So by the time I'm here now, 10 years, maybe 5 years later, and an opportunity comes into my hand.
Imagine.
To just be responsible with life. I had been praying about stability in that season when I paid off my debt. I had been praying about stability, and I had now got a good job. And side note, it's another reason why you want to do an assessment, because your dreams will change.
Wow.
And you don't have to keep a goal forever.
Wow.
Right? Like, you can have a goal and you can try to, like, you can have a dream and you'd be like, okay, fine. For example, I'm living in a place where it's my dream, but I don't want to stay there forever. I can move on to something else. So that's why it's so important to do a reassessment. So I had changed my prayers in this stage of my life, and I was now praying about stability.
Wow.
I wasn't praying to get rich.
Yes. Yeah.
Like those prayers I was praying when I was new to the faith. Oh, let me get rich. Let me get rich.
Yeah.
Now I changed my prayers. I'm like, I'm praying for stability. Now I have a daughter. You know, rich, like being wealthy, I believe it will come. But my prayers were now redirected to very specific things. Comes back to the SMART goals.
Yes.
Right? So I'm here praying for stability, and God opens up a way where I can now have a job where I'm able to save extra.
Wow.
And I meet a person who is able to guide me.
Wow. Oh,
We had mentorship is so important. We had a workshop at the church. I think, I'm not sure if the women's ministry put it together, but there was some financial workshop at the church. I went to it, and the workshop was okay. It wasn't bad. But what got me is that at the end, the presenter said, hey, I have a book club and you're welcome to join. I said, book club? I can dig with that. I like reading. I like reading. So I joined her book club, and then I begin to unfold my situation with her. And she's just like, hey, the reason why you're not debt free is because you're only paying the minimum balance. She's like, with these institutions, you have to pay more than the minimum because the interest you're charging is going to keep you in debt forever.
Yes.
Mind you, Bella, I was paying 50% interest. 50% on interest fees.
Oh, no.
That means for every dollar, they're charging me another dollar. Every time I paid that minimum balance, they put the minimum back. I was just like, and I was like, because I remember I was.
It's exhausting.
It was so exhausting.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'm committed. God, thank you for blessing me with this job. I'm paying off my debt. I wasn't paying off my debt. I was paying the minimum. I was paying the interest fee over and over and over again, and they kept just adding it back on every month. And once I met her, she's just like, you have to pay more than the minimum. Within months, I paid it off. And it's just knowledge.
Yes, that's all
Just
we need.
That information.
Oh,
And it was a sacrifice. Like, I was on noodles for a long time.
yeah.
Noodles and eggs and noodles
But
every day.
tell us about that discipline though you have to take to be able
The
to.
discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started off with just committing to something small.
Mm.
For me, it was doing something for the church.
Okay.
That's where my heart was.
Yeah.
But if you don't commit, you're not going to see anything happen. I always tell people, if you don't change, how do you expect anything in your life to change? You know, you want to see changes in this, you want to see changes in that, but if you don't change, how will anything change?
Whew.
That is the main, that's the main discipline.
Wow.
You literally have to change for something to change in your life.
Yes. Write that in your vision board, guys. Write it down. If you don't change, how would anything change? I love that. Because we keep on doing the same thing over and over, and we think the change, when would the change come? You have to change. I love that.
And you know what's so funny? Because when I was paying off my debt, I thought I had it all together. I was like, oh, I got a good job. I'm paying the minimum balance, But sometimes you open yourself up to be mentored. Open up yourself to receive, to talk about, within moderation. You don't want to talk too much about your business, but to receive feedback from people. You never know who will give you that key information that's gonna take you from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just open to say, hey, I'm trying to pay off this debt. I'm paying 50%. And she's like, that's why, girl. That's why you're still in debt.
Yeah.
It's 50% interest. I didn't know how severe.
Yes.
Like, if anybody's watching this, you know how severe 50% interest fee is.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to get out of debt if I kept paying the minimum balance. That's the truth.
Wow. I'm glad you came out of it. I'm so proud of you. There's something people don't know though. In Canada, you can think about Considerate. It's one company, whatever. You put all your debts together.
Consolidating.
Yeah. So the good thing about it that they don't charge you interest. So if you're smart, you put all of them together and you pay every month, and no interest is being added. And then once you have like enough money, you can call them and say, hey, I want to pay it off this, one of the credit card you have, for example. And you just send all the money, you're done, and increase your credit card.
Wow.
It helps a lot, right?
You see that?
Yeah.
You see that? When you greet your neighbor, help. Like, talk to Bella. Bella was telling you all the things.
And the other thing I could tell people is this. When you're calling mostly like your provider for phones, a lot of people don't realize how much interest and small fees they keep adding. I pay attention to those things. And then once I call, I'm never rude to people because I have an understanding the way you treat a person, the way they can help you, right? Because I'm always working as a customer service because I truly want to understand something in life, and I love those kind of jobs, right? And I realized that when you call the person, I love to call and then I hear an Indian guy because I know I'm gonna get whatever I want. But when it's a black woman, sorry to say, I have no issue with y'all. Like, I love you, but they always want to challenge you, right? But when it's an Indian guy, I'm like, hey, how are you? How was your day? Hey, Han. I love to use Han every single time. And then I tell them, I'm like, hey, I do see this and that. One time they charged me $206 something. I spoke to the guy. I'm like, hey, look at this. This is what you guys told me. Do you know they brought it down all the way to $56?
What?
Yeah. So imagine if I went ahead and just made the payment. That's why people keeps on paying things and you're not coming out of your debts.
Pay attention. Wake up.
Wake up. One of my friends told me, like, can you call my phone for me and stuff because she traveled. I did it for her. And then I'm like, yo, they're about to charge you another $50 extra because you didn't pay on time. What? Call them. Tell them, like, you can talk to these people. They're human like you. Speak to them. Let them help you. I did it for her and they said, okay, we understand. We won't charge you for that fee. But imagine how many times they charged her. And she want to pay finish paying off her whatever. Like, how long this is gonna keep on going, right? And my mom trusts me with those things. Like, every time she needs help, I'll be like, can you call? I'm like, I got you. That's like my trick, because I do accept, without knowledge, that's why people perish. Talk to people, find out with people, but I do encourage about the consider, you said?
Consolidation.
Yeah, consolidation. I do tell a lot of young people, if you're truly in a big mess with your credit card and you trying to build your credit, truly do that. It helps a lot.
Yeah, and I know there's somebody out there who's thinking, no, I don't want to talk about my business. I don't want to talk.
That's pride.
Right? They think that it's private, and you know that what they have in their life is private, and that's okay. I'm saying be strategic when you're talking. You can say something without sharing the details.
Thank you. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
When I got my car, I didn't share about it. And sometimes you have to let something mature before you, and I completely get that. So, you know, for the girl who doesn't want to talk about their school, like maybe she wants it to mature. Maybe she was applying to get in and she didn't get her acceptance letter.
Yeah.
That's fair. She wants the testimony to mature.
Yes.
Right? Before it's like, when it's solid, sometimes people only share something when it's like, it's done.
Yes.
You know, and that is okay. But you can safely say something without exposing yourself in your private, intricate life. You know, like she could have said, I'm hoping to study X, Y, and Z. She didn't have to say the school she was applying to get into. Right? That's saying something safely without exposing something private about your life. You know, be strategic, because you also want to help yourself by making that vision really plain. And, you know, you don't go around telling everybody everything.
Your business.
But if it comes up, there's a saying, somebody who I follow on Instagram, she's like, you know, you can't be interesting if you're not interested in something.
Ooh, can be
right? So
wow.
nobody, like, okay, fine, you don't want to talk about it. Okay, nobody wants to talk to you. That's why. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nobody loses in helping you.
Nobody
Seriously. So
right? So be interesting. Maybe you don't want to talk about you're trying to pay off debt, but you can say something interesting, like just be an interesting person, and that will help people to gravitate on, to know where to help you in life. Right? Like, imagine a very wealthy person, maybe Oprah Winfrey says, hey, Bella, I saw your Bella Let's Talk.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can help you with? Oof. What are you going to say? Oh, I'm praying about this right now. Before I can tell you, first I have to work it out in the spirit, because I need to assess your spirit, Oprah. No. We don't know where you're coming from. You know what I mean?
What? I admire her. So the moment she asked that question, I'm going off.
Right? Yeah. Sometimes, like, there's countless times in my life where I just opened up. Opening up is a powerful tool.
Thank you. Preach it.
Where I just opened up, not messy, not telling my private stuff, but just opened up, and it has helped me. Yeah. Where people have said, oh, let me introduce you to this person. Imagine. Oh, have you tried this?
Yeah. And it helped you, no? Yeah. I feel like most of us, it's our ego and
scared
pride.
And it's private. It's,
yeah.
Okay, girl.
Yeah. We're all private. Like, there's certain things I do agree, like, keep it, quiet. But other stuff, if you need help, approach people who's doing it to help you. Like, I'm getting people who need help with the podcast, and I'm like, I will help you. And nobody needs to know that I helped you. But it's because, like, I know what I struggled with to start it, because I didn't have anyone that I knew to ask. So if you see me and you find me, I will help you 100%. So what is the last thing would you want to share with us and help us to, like, set our goals and that helped you in your own life?
Last thing is consistency. It's the key to life. Consistency, because you can be on a winning streak and decide to get comfortable and be like, okay, I'm cruising now. Like, I'll get a couple grants and be like, oh, this is so easy, and then decline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So consistency in terms of always learning, always growing, improving, working on your craft. Like never get comfortable with where you are. Even when I reach a goal, I'm just like, okay, how can what's the next step? Sometimes there doesn't necessarily need to be a next thing that you're hustling towards, but you always want to be keeping yourself active, like keeping your mind active, whether it be, sorry, no, I'm diverting. Even when you reach a goal, you never want to get comfortable. And I'm not saying you have to hustle and grind for the rest of your life, but I'm saying always aspire to do more because there is always more in life. There is more that you are capable of. Don't stop pushing yourself. Pushing yourself doesn't mean that you need to be working 12 hours and sleepless nights, but pushing yourself means, okay, I reached the goal. Maybe I reached the 6 figures in getting a grant. Pushing myself is I can help more people. Maybe I only helped 2 people to get that 6 figures. Maybe I can help 3. Like there's so much more in you. Even when you feel like you've gotten there, there's so much more. So be consistent to push yourself and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself that you can do it. You are capable. God has given you the ability to do it.
Amen. Yes, I do agree with that. Guys, as you have heard it from the best of the best, her name is Aliyah. Find her on Instagram and let her help you. Like, she's doing so much well now. Um, and you see, whatever she went through in life didn't keep her down or made her give up. She continued to pursue life, and I'm happy to host you today. Thank you for coming. And as I could lastly say, thank you guys for watching Bella Let's Talk, and have a wonderful day.